Welcome to Tidbit Talkin. This series is just spewing out assorted thoughts about boatloads of entertainment media. Some ideas are serious, others not so much. There will be spoilers for the series currently featured, but generally only vague references to any other connected ones in a shared universe. Now, with all that out of the way, here we go. Ralph probably normally moves that stone to wherever Nairu is currently singing or doing whatever other very public things she finds enjoyable. He might even know how to make such barriers himself, just in case his favorite blue-haired friend is too distracted by those wacky oracle duties. Nairu most likely enchanted Captain Fancy Hat, Hyrule's hero, and Miss Tireless Royal Attendant to be aware of any timeline changes, just in case this happens. The Mystic Tree's probably already immune, save for getting killed earlier or whatever, which makes sense because that sort of alteration is a tad bit more influential than games of catch getting interrupted or what have you. Impa will give Link a sword at the beginning of this adventure, but not in Seasons because she's saving it for here, just in case some history hacking renders none available at any locales found within reasonable distance. Past Maku Road was probably made safe rather quickly in the history preceding Buron's interference because some construction workers were putting forth their best effort there instead of at that Black Tower. Labrina's Guardian Tree most likely can only turn on that time portal right in front of here, and quite possibly solely by transferring energy away from that already activated nearby one's residue signature or whatever. The weakest temporal tundra traversing tune got left behind exclusively, just in case some evil folks use trickery to get into this hidden mystic goodie vault like what happened with that security rock earlier. If nothing else, it provides protection, because keeping track of wicked people and chasing them throughout the years becomes much easier if they can only chronological position shift by a fairly obvious doorway usage. In addition to hiding that whole deal where the things can separate her from whichever body she's currently possessing, Buron might be seeking Mystery Seed because they could also function as junk that makes people more easily influenced, like Queen Ambi over here. Maple traveling between eras may be the result of her flight magic not meshing too well with a certain body hopper's own mystic manipulations in ways which cause inadvertent portal activation whenever she comes near one. These disagreeing physical law hack shenanigans must also be how so many folks from Holodrum get sent backward. Girls gotta bump into non-Link individuals too, after all. Cheval trusts trademark inventions only to those with might and light feet because he knows how much strength swimming demands, but also understands that said physical prowess might not be enough for slaying every foe found in the depths. Thus, anybody looking to get wet on a regular basis must also be capable of easily fleeing whenever necessary. Ricky's gloves got lost on the beach because he was busy defeating all the enemies that were there during a routine training session. Some creatures in hiding saw this display and then buried these things in fear, thinking of how they must be the key to this mysterious beast's awe-inspiring powers. Everybody's favorite kangaroo can't stand Tingle because the guy once searched through his pouch for fairy dust without permission. The Tokay might have put Link's bomb stash near those Gukos because they saw gunpowder leak out into his bag and wrongly assumed it was some sort of chicken feed stuff. This one guy only feels like giving the scent seed sapling away to whoever wins his minigame because he must make sure a monster-attracting tree doesn't grow when there's not a village defense providing level of athlete around. Apparently, these switch-swapping shards are enchanted by magic that only lets them shatter whenever a very specific force solely strikes surface spots. Hence why bombs don't activate and destroy them, but swords and seed shooters succeed. This mole mini-boss is actually a legendary fiend on kooky lizard people island. That's why they respect shovels so much. This forest fairy brand might be only capable of activating their teleportation spells when humanoids are present by tapping into some special energy these kind of beings possess on a soulful level. It looks like they can drag other creatures in the wake once things get going, though, and how Dimitri can only be spirited away once Link shows up. This inaugural Switch puzzle test could very well be basic training for the delicate positioning using such things successfully demands. Not only does getting swapped around like that cause incredible dizziness when all you are is a giant eye, but such hefty wings also wind up worn out if there's weird air current action going on. The Goron Elder couldn't have died from either oxygen deprivation or starvation under those rocks he can eat. Old age would have merely gotten him before everybody else broke through. Plus, clearly, the force of those granite gobs' weight doesn't matter, since the explosion is harmless and everything. Instances of a young boy helping everybody in Rolling Ridge out of their messes may have originally involved Queen Ambi's son before Link started time traveling. Demon Dog Doodad Deal might be psychically transporting its Iron Ball toy to whoever it currently wants fetch play happening. In In the history where Commander Octorok Eater never traveled back here, the previously mentioned hypothetical prince must have given the Goron base away as a nation relation helping royal family present kinda deal. Tingle learned magic that lets him alter the amount of air in objects. It's how he fills his balloons and increases seed satchel sizes. It's the same key during each period, but over time rust occurred on both ends that conveniently still allowed for proper turning. Diesel Lady's loyal servant doesn't care about a kid showing up. He's worried about a heavy Goron crushing his mistress's true bug form. The mermaid suit must have originally been created for those delightful boulder folks so they could start regularly communicating and or trading with their Zora neighbors. Those other species that live around these parts never got such things made because they aren't too heavy for ship loading. This Tokay who upgrades shields simply can't tell time. That's how one can get in the past right alongside a message about finding it centuries ago. None of them have clock access anyway, so... That unnecessary spinning entrance what's it near the end of Mermaid's Cave exists to check if those looking for a certain similarly named garment are seasickness prone. The hidden garden passage is, of course, primarily for helping sneak Her Highness out during emergency crap, not letting people in. The guards don't reset the switches if folks get caught and tossed out because they've been ordered not to touch them unless a royal evacuation is actually happening. Also, it's water-themed as a tribute to her sea Captain Love. He just so happens to be the only person who would actually enter through this tunnel. Ralph must have his own little instrument he uses that Nyrune chanted to travel back to the past. Perhaps some sort of fancy princely presence-announcing trumpet deal. There's 200 rupees stashed away in the palace because these Zoras were trying to save up for one of those ever-so-expensive recovery potions. The king doesn't get sick again because that dirty eastward water flow was stopped from reaching their village city almost immediately after it was deemed the source of his illness. It's called a Book of Seals because lacking it locks away that old dude guarding the fairy powder. He has it back here so directions to the bathroom can be had. He can't leave and help that sprightly queen himself because it's hard holding the book while walking and his memory ain't what it used to be, so taking a quick glimpse and then dashing away is ruled out. The reason Labrina Jabu Jabu's insides are much less organic than Hyrule's is because this dungeon is actually a normal temple meant to house that timely essence which that just mentioned aquatic ED swallowed. The reason these walls still convulse is because they are covered in legions of bacteria living within it. At some point, the ancient tomb got torn down, and any salvageable parts got made into that other dungeon and a graveyard after those kooky Tokay started messing with first-place leading tunnels in ways which greatly threatened this land's literal stability. Slotting slate summoned shining sources so the person placing them in can always read what they say before venturing onwards. Stuff that probably has something to do with how to assemble and defeat the security robot whatchamacallit, utilizing almost half a dozen heroic tools. Not many people sell shields around these parts because they gotta be imported from a holodrum located underground smithy. These small hearts dropped by Shadowlink clones fill up a bit more health than usual because they were created by siphoning some of the real deal's innate magical life force junk. Viron showing her face and setting up vulnerability activating action is almost definitely only done because there's no other way for her to see what's going on in this form. She could very well be solely relying upon scent and some more mystical sense and whatnot during her attacks. Lady just peeps afterwards in order to check how much damage she's done. Anyway, this adventure was rather puzzle focused while its seasonal counterpart dealt a bit more with fighty time action. This is rather appropriate as wisdom and wits can grow over time, while enduring nature's wrath is typically only best done during a brief period where all that peak physicality goodness happens to be going on. The endless day around a certain darkened skyscraper might be its own sectioned off timeline, hence this deal not really sorta instantly appearing finished in that wacky future present right away once villainous things get set into motion. This may all be a result of Nayru's powers as the Ages Oracle coming into play, with some history helping hoopla. Being that this game takes place in the temporal region that exists only because a hero so horrifically kicked a bucket, those old creation goddesses took a page from their younger sister Hylia's book and reincarnated themselves as mysticism-having mortals for some good old world-helping shenanigans. Specifically, part of these abilities include only letting time changes happen with some mighty approval sorcery. Seems like she has just enough strength while possessed kidnapped to stop Viron's plans a bit while still granting Link's alteration the go-ahead. That simple creates blocks description gets used here because this Link already knows what the cane is. Maple likely imported / stole this UFO from them of Termina. Endings are a pain, but all of you are fantastic. See ya.